Okay, everybody, welcome back to the New York Weightlifting Podcast. I'm James McDermott, and I'm joined by Sarah Soto yet again. Sarah, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. I'm recovering from the Arnold Sports Festival, the North American Open Series 1 and the National University Championships. It was quite the exhausting stretch of days.
Always is, but especially this year.
Yes, yeah, especially this year. I was up at 4:45 every day, going to do weigh-ins. I got to meet a lot of new people, technical officials and athletes and coaches alike. So that's always fun to meet everybody.
Best
And
part.
yeah, I worked, all throughout the day, reffing, speaking, weigh-ins, like I said, and also had my coaching hat on. And I felt good because I like to be busy. And
Mm.
I like the excitement of events. Even the chaos is also a fun thing for me. So I really enjoyed it. And now, as I was telling you before, I've been bit by the bug, the the events traveling technical official bug, and I have some FOMO about the Masters National Championships coming up that I unfortunately won't be able to make it out, but if I was able to, I would love to come and help.
That's fair. I mean, I echo. I wasn't there, of course, because this was the Reno meet is too close for same reason I had to like pick my spot. But yeah, I mean, it's so much fun. I don't know. It's a weird thing because it's like that. I am not drawn to that in my real life, like all that. But like something about it in the weightlifting environment and all of these events, it's a great time,
It
even
kind
when
of
it's
feels,
stressful.
yeah, even when stressful, it feels like when you're in an event and you're just in the location, you have like this tunnel vision that everything else is tuned out. You don't know what's going on in the news, anything going on back home, your job, responsibilities. It's all just about weightlifting and sitting in the chair and the lift around the platform or the task you're doing. So it's almost like a mental break from everything else.
That's such a good point. And it's funny because it's like I am not like the kind of person that you would think this about, but like I kind of love going to like I mean not just Disney World, but like or Universal, whatever, like theme parks. And like it's such a weird thing. People don't understand why I'm in like my family thinks I'm crazy, but it's like it is exactly that. It is like it is a an absolute mental break. Like I have to put blinders on and like I'm just dealing with this one thing and you're in this environment that's just completely different from your everyday life and it's just yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we're similar in this, and the people listening also have a similar experience where every single day I'm multitasking. I'm doing
Mm.
all these things: email, text, post, podcast, whatever it is. Go coach. And when you're just stuck at the convention center or the hotel, whatever it is, it's just there. That's it. You can't do those other things.
Yeah, you're good. It's a good point. Yeah, for sure.
Especially because the internet is difficult in the convention center. So you definitely can't, there's no Wi-Fi in that place and there's a million phones everywhere. So there were a bunch of sketchy times where I'm like, I don't know what messages are happening right now. I can't send anything.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. Even personal life stuff. Like my husband just knows that like when I'm at those meets, like that's like I will get to your text if and when I can as soon as possible. If you really need me, you should call.
Yeah, exactly. The texting, it's like that's of low importance. A call
Hmm.
sounds important, which it's
Yep.
funny because it used to not be that way. We only used to call, and now everybody texts. It's just how the world is now.
It's true. Yeah.
I remember when you had to call your friend. See, all right, here let's go down the I'm old rabbit hole. Like you had to call your friend in our house, my mom's house. We had the phone, the
Oh
rotary phone,
yeah.
and then you mess it up and you got to go back and then I remember when we got caller ID, we were all like, ooh, caller, like I know who's calling now.
Yeah.
Now it's all just on text and it says this may be spam that's calling you or something like that.
It's true. Yeah.
Speaking of the North American Open Series 1, on our website and also on Instagram, we have a post where you can read about the medal results and the placement results. So if you head on over to New York or NYWSO.com and click on the news, that'll be our blog, and you can find this article. Shout out and fantastic job to everybody who is on this list. They represented New York well, and I got to see a lot of these people lifting on the platform. And for some of them, I was also refereeing or doing their weigh-in, which is also a lot of fun.
Hmm.
And so it's just this is out here if you want to go and take a look at it. It is slightly different than what was posted on Instagram because there's a character limit on Instagram. So this is the full post here. On Instagram, I have to make all kinds of sacrifices like typing snatch as SN, and instead of and using the and symbol. And also I have to delete a lot of things that I would rather have on there. So the Instagram post is the truncated version, and on Facebook and here on the website, this is the full write-up where you can see all of the medal and placements. So pretty cool.
Very cool.
So one more congratulations and shout out to all of those folks. Also in the news, this was posted on our Instagram and on our blog, and also in the newsletter, which just went out. So if anyone was wondering why the newsletter was so delayed right now, it's because of the Arnold. Had a 10-hour drive to get through, and plus I figured I wanted to wait to get the results from the Arnold and also the Masters Nationals roster before I put the newsletter out. That way, that stuff could be in there because by the time we get to February, it's like, all right, well, it's already too late. So that's why we had a little bit of delay. But I'll share this screen now. So this is an article that's on our website. It was posted on Instagram earlier last week, and also there's a link in the newsletter. We have a mini partnership brewing with the people at I Love New York, which is a major tourism and travel promotion place in the state. I'm not sure what other WSOs or states have available to them, but if anyone's listening from those organizations, I recommend you find your I Love New York equivalent and reach out to them because they were very gracious and put our event, the New York State Championships, on their website. And what I'm hoping this does is it encourages people who like sports in New York State to travel or come to watch this event. And you never know. They watch it and they could be like, hey, I want to do that. I see people like me out there. I see masters athletes. I got to talk to this guy, that lady, and they told me about weightlifting. And then they walk into a gym somewhere in the state wherever they live, and there you go. Now they're competing next year. So the hope is that this sparks some interest in the sport. And there are other goals with this partnership that are coming down the line. In a perfect world, I could list every event on here, but we'll start with the New York State Championships and see how that goes.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool thing. And that is the last of my announcements. So it's time to talk about the Masters National Championships. So you'll be out there, right, Sarah?
I will be. Yep.
You'll be lifting and officiating.
I will be.
Is is training going well? How are we feeling?
I'm pretty broken at this point. I mean, I guess that's pretty normal. It's been a long time since I've felt this awful.
Okay, all right.
Lead up to meet, had a real bad session yesterday, but whatever. We're gonna put that day behind me and move forward.
That's a good attitude. Sometimes, and you know this, and the people listening know this. Training, especially that last little stretch leading up to a meet, doesn't necessarily mean that that's how you'll perform when you get out there with a fresh barbell. You're not loading it. The atmosphere, the adrenaline, the focus comes in. Some of
Yes.
my best meets are when I had the not the worst prep, but like the worst warm-ups in the back room, just
Mm,
missing things left and right, and you just keep going up, and you're like, well, we're gonna find out what happens, and then all of a sudden PRs. So you can't judge it until you get out there.
right, right, exactly. We'll see. Yeah, it's always tough too. And I mean, I think I said this in the technical officials episode, but it's just, especially too, it's like I am with the math because masters meets go from, if people don't know this, the oldest age groups, and then it just descends down to the youngest. So like the 35-year-olds will lift on Sunday. And I mean, I am in the 40, I am technically 43 this year. So I'm, in the 40 to 44 age group. And so it's like and also a little heavier. So it's like I lift on Saturday and I have a 6 a.m. weigh-in. But fortunately, it's on the West Coast. So for me, it's going to be like 9 a.m. So I'm kind of going to ultimately end up lifting around the same time I do. So I just kind of have to keep on my East Coast
All right.
time slot the whole time I'm out there, which
Yeah, hey,
should be
that
a
makes
little
sense.
difficult if I can. I don't. We'll see if I can manage that.
I think you will. We have faith in Sarah. We know she will do well. And yeah, those 6 a.m. weigh-ins, they're tough. But we make it through.
We do.
So this event will be taking place in Reno, Nevada, at the Reno Ballroom, which the address, I'll announce it now just in case, and we'll put it in the show notes. 401 North Center Street, Reno, Nevada, and the zip code is 89501. If you remember the last episode, I'm a stickler for the address because I'm often looking for it, and sometimes it's not listed places. Registration has closed for this year, and the event will be taking place from Thursday, March 21st to Sunday, March 24th, just how Sarah described it, with the oldest age groups going first, all the way down to Sunday, where the youngest age groups will be going too. So that
Yes.
is the just a little general overview. And I'll pull up now the events page. Always important to check the events page. That's where USAW will post announcements, the start list, anything that you need to know about this event. So it will be linked in the show notes. And if we just kind of scroll through here, it has just general information, what the registration fee and expiration dates were. There is a link here for adaptive athletes to register through. Even though the registration is done, I think it's important that people know that USAW is offering adaptive divisions now, and it's a separate sign up, right, Sarah?
Correct. Yeah. It's like it's listed as a totally separate competition if you go to look for it in bars. So keep an
Yep.
eye out for
So
that.
if you go into bars, like for this one, like right now, just if you wanted to see for yourself, you type in Masters Nationals or just Masters, it'll pull up both the regular and then the adaptive. And if you are an adaptive athlete, you would use that second one to sign up. Because if you just sign up for the first one, even if you have on your bars profile adaptive checked, it doesn't link, right? You wouldn't be technically in that competition.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So that's definitely something important for future events. I think the next one on the calendar will be the National Championships week, right?
Yes, indeed. Very exciting.
So anyone looking to do that, make sure if you're an adaptive athlete that you use those separate registration links. We got preliminary schedule, tickets, registration, qualifying totals. So if maybe you're not going this year, but you want to see what the qualifying totals were, so you can start to train for next year and just have an idea, you can check it there. We got the entry list, event policy, hotel stuff, media credentials. So this is just overall always a good resource to check. USAW does a good job about emailing this out when events are announced. So double check your emails, make sure you're subscribed to USA Weightlifting's email database there and that you get these messages. And I do know some people for the Arnold were having issues getting emails. You It's because you unsubscribed at some point. I know there's a
Mm,
lot of thoughts on USAW emails and not getting them. Yes, there are some times where they don't come through, but these types of emails that aren't election related, they are typically not coming through because you may have unsubscribed at some point. And if you go into your bars profile, we'll have to maybe when we do our bars walkthrough one day, we'll show how to do this, but you can definitely go in there and have selective emails sent to you. If you only want to hear about events from USA Weightlifting, click that box. But I
mm.
think what happens sometimes is people go in there and they uncheck every box and don't read what they're associated to. So now if you sign up for Masters Nationals, you're not going to get those emails with important information because you may be unsubscribed from the promotional emails or other general stuff. So at the very least, stay with the events.
Yeah, that's good advice.
So we've all been there with emails. Other important dates. We have the verification of final entries meeting coming up today. So this podcast is being released on Monday, March 11th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, at 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time, which is, I believe, noon, if I'm getting my Mountain Time correct.
Yes.
That's when the verification of final entries meeting will be taking place. Again, USAW sent out an email. We will try to post the link to it, around to our membership, make sure everyone knows what's going on. But stop this podcast if you're competing and you need to make changes. Go on over there to that Zoom meeting that USAW is hosting. And that is where, if you're going to make a final change to your entry total or anything like that and receive important event information or ask questions, you can do it live. And I do know typically, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, USAW allows you to email the general inbox if you have a change too, right?
I do believe so. I mean, up until that point, until as soon as the VFE is over, like that's it. They will not take
Yeah,
anything that comes after that time period. But yeah, I do believe that leading up to that. I think you can also use events at usaweightlifting.org. I think that is the more direct path, actually, if you ever want to do that, because that goes directly to Pedro Maloney, who is the meet director for USA
got it.
Weightlifting. Yeah.
So events at usaweightlifting.org. Type your name in the subject line and the event, and in the email box, maybe your USAW number and what change you need to make. And like Sarah just said, it's a half an hour meeting. So if it's from 12 p.m. to 12:30 p.m. and you send your email and they get it time stamped at 12:32 p.m., that's technically too late. So hopefully
I
people
do
are doing
not
that stuff in advance.
I do not expect a very active VFE for a master's meet because, uh, as most people, or I hope they know at this point, masters are allowed to go up a weight class. So it's like, and you could do multiple if you need to. So it's like those kinds of changes will not be made. Maybe entry totals will. So it should be pretty succinct. But
Awesome.
yeah, and you cannot go down. So if you do need to go down, then you should definitely make that change at the VFE. But you can't go down when you weigh in at the meet.
Got it. So that's important information. You can go up at weigh-ins at the Masters event, but you can't go down. So that would be a reason. So I guess two reasons to attend this meeting. Three reasons: be informed on anything going on. The two, ask questions. Or I'm adding reasons. Ask questions. Uh, to go down a weight class, or also to change your entry total. And now,
Yeah.
if you make those changes, typically the session you're in doesn't change, right? If once that's announced.
Usually, yeah. The only he might. It depends. I mean, since now VFEs used to be a week out from a meet, right? Like from the start
Mhm.
of a meet or the same week even. And now we're kind of doing it at this more regular, like expected almost 2 weeks prior to a meet starting.
Which I'm
Um,
a fan of.
I
I like
agree.
it.
Seconded. But yeah, I mean, that might actually give Pedro a little bit more time to be able to make some changes. And so yes, you should absolutely wait until the final start list and the schedule come out to check on that. So you might change, but if you go up a weight class on the day that you weigh in, like on your lifting day, they usually will not change you. They might change you to a different platform, but you're not going to change session. Like you will still be lifting at the same time, even if you're in a heavier weight class. They might move you to a different platform if that weight class has space and then is competing at the same time, if that makes sense. But
Oh yeah.
yeah. So
No, that makes sense. If I'm in 81 and I show up to weigh-ins and I'm heavy and I'm like, I'm not going to cut, can you make me 89? I'm still in that session or just moving platforms, and I'll be informed of that when it's time.
yes, exactly.
Speaking of weigh-ins, we'll take a little weigh-in segue. All right, let's see if I remember the whole
The
spiel.
spiel.
Singlets on, straps up before you go into the room. No wristwatch, no jewelry, no socks, no shoes, and for the love of all things holy, no leggings under the singlet on during the weigh-in. Because if you're wearing the leggings and they call your name, you're gonna have to go take them off. And then you move to the bottom of the list to be called. It goes in an order, calling order that's posted outside of the room. So if you go, oh, I'm on blue platform, look at the blue platform sign, you'll see a sheet, it's got your name on it. That's the calling order. You'll have to have your driver's license or government issued ID. I don't believe you have to have your USAW ID anymore, right? Because people are already checked in. And
Correct.
then after that, they're going to call your name. And if you're not ready or you're not there, you get bumped to the bottom of the list. And if you're cutting or you just want to go eat food and chill, that's important. I saw many people at the Arnold who were number one or number two on the calling order, and they showed up just a little bit too late or they weren't prepared, and now they're last out of 12 people. So,
So common at 6 a.m.
yep.
weigh-ins too.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Later in
Everyone
the day, everybody's a little cooler and like chill and on time. But 6 a.m., it's like people think, oh, I'm gonna get a couple extra minutes of sleep, and then they miss their name and they're at the bottom of the list.
Oh yes. So do yourself a favor. Don't just put on a singlet, don't put on the leggings, and be ready, because also I feel like now it's going to become an etiquette thing to, to have your shoes and socks off and be ready to hop on that scale is courteous to the other people in the session. But even if you're like ready and you're like, oh, I gotta take my socks and shoes off, and you're doing like that dance out there, and the person doing the weigh-ins like, all right, I'll give you the 15 seconds. Everyone behind you is like,
Totally.
because they're ready. So like that I noticed that too, like the death stares of other people when like I would call someone and they had to get their sweatpants off and their socks off, and they had to singlet on, no leggings. So they were ready to go, but that extra time feels like forever to those other people who are standing there. They're like, I'll hop on the scale right now. I'm ready.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky thing because it's like some people have just run there and they've, come over and they still have their shoes in their bag and their jacket on and stuff like that, and they've made their name. So it's like you have to give a little grace.
Yeah.
Also, it's like we do not have any control over the weigh-in waiting area. So it's like sometimes it's very cold, sometimes, and it's like people don't want to take their shoes off and their socks off and like be out there in bare feet. So it's like it's fine. But the other thing too of note is that like it's important, people will come in with like leggings or they'll have a shirt on underneath and they think we are not allowed to have you taking off any items of clothing in the weigh-in room.
Yep.
You have to leave. So you must go to the bathroom. You must find a different space to be able to go do that away. So it's like, even if you're like, oh my gosh, I'll be really quick, I don't mind you seeing blah, blah, XYZ, like doesn't matter. You have to leave. That's it. Back of the line.
Yep. Yep. That happened a couple times last week too. So yeah, just know the rules. USAW is going to put them out there. I'm pretty sure they're going to do the A through Z post
Oh,
again
yes.
for
Yes.
events, and W is definitely weigh-ins, and I'm sure that information will be there. So
Yeah.
yeah, and if you're not getting those emails, there's a lot of important stuff floating around for it.
Yeah.
So there's our weigh-in spiel
Yes.
and segue.
Yes.
Uh, Back to important dates, the technical officials meeting, which will be held on Zoom, is going to be Sunday, March 17th at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern Time. It's St. Patty's Day, so when you come, make sure you haven't started your drinking and other stuff already, or just have your camera off and be on mute. No, hopefully nothing. I know they recorded it last time, so don't do anything crazy at the technical officials meeting on St. Patty's Day. But yeah, if there's any people out there interested in volunteering, they are looking for volunteers. An email just went out about hotel compensation. So check that. It's the first 13 people that respond to that. So by the time this comes out, the opportunity may be gone, but USAW will put you with a roommate of their choosing, or if you have a friend that's going, you guys can request each other, and they'll pay for your hotel room, and you'll be fed breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you're not eligible to receive the local or the normal pay rate, So if you do take advantage of this room opportunity, you won't receive the 5, 10, 15, $25 for being a certain level of official to ref a session. But that stuff's out there. So check your email for that too.
Yep.
Anything else about the technical meeting, Sarah?
No, that covers it.
Cool. And the Zoom meeting is out there, go check it out. Can athletes go to that, or is that only if you're helping?
Oh, I mean, anybody can come in. It's an open meeting, but I mean, the only
Okay.
people who care are going to be people that are technical officials and willing to help.
All right. Yeah, hey, so if you're an athlete and you want to learn, or if you have like technical official type questions, you're like, I don't know if can I show you guys my leggings? I don't know if these are legal. You'll find out right there. So definitely not a bad idea. Or if you're a coach and you're not sure about the national meet process, that would be a good thing to attend and be like, hey, when I go to make a change, what do I do? What's the rule? So
I
definitely
mean, I think
do
that they
that.
might not answer questions like that in the
Oh, okay.
meeting, like I because it's like it's very confined to a certain amount of time just for everybody's calendars, but meetings about questions about volunteering for sure. But if you have technical questions about leggings and stuff, maybe you'll see a face on the Zoom call of somebody that you know that you can reach out to and ask those things.
There you go. There you go. Or there's two faces right here. So
Sure.
if you want to
Yes.
ask us in advance, we're always happy to help.
Yes.
The last important date, the training hall, athlete check-in, and check scales, to last I knew, were going to all be available on Wednesday, March 20th at 2 p.m. And that's 2 p.m. Reno, Nevada time. So I know a lot of people are looking for those things. I'm not sure where the location of any of that is, but that's the time it becomes available, 2 p.m.
Yes, that's pretty standard for all national events. They always try to get all of that stuff set up, have it started, yeah, like 1 or 2 p.m. On the Wednesday before. National Championships week, it'll just be probably, that's a good question. I don't even know. That's
No,
for another time.
that's a preview show coming up.
Yeah.
We will answer that question. Uh, So some of the benefits of becoming a masters athlete and doing this event, because this is the sole masters event, right, Sarah? Like I know other ones you can medal at the AO series as a masters, but this is our Super Bowl for the masters athletes, So the benefits to doing a meet like this would be you can become a champion, right? Everyone wants to be a champion.
Sure.
You can make a run for the Triple Crown Award, which we'll talk about more here in a second. It's a masters only event, so you're lifting with your age group and your peer group. You're not going to be there with juniors or younger senior athletes. It's all people in your session who are 35 to 40, 39, 40 to 44. So you get to compete with people that you normally maybe even wouldn't compete with and kind of see where you stand. And it's also an opportunity to post a total to qualify for other events because there are other opportunities for masters to go to things like the American Open Finals or the World Masters Championships, which we'll talk about here in Fiji. So there's a lot of benefits to doing this meet.
Yeah.
What the Triple Crown Award, I'm still learning about this. That what are the events for the Triple Crown? Do we know?
Oh man, hold on. I'm gonna pull that up. I
Yeah,
can't remember.
let's pull it up. So it's a new thing. I don't believe actually maybe I think they retroactively crowned some Triple Crown people.
They did. Oh, hold on. I just saw it and it's gone.
So typically with an award like this, you would have to medal or be best lifter at a series of meets. And then that will get you to have the Triple Crown award and you get a special award. If you think like Spartan races, if you go to like the sprint, then you go to a longer race, and then you get the little fragment of a medal for every one of those that you go to, and then you become the Grand Spartan champion when you complete all of it. So this is the weightlifting equivalent to that.
Man, I can't find it. Hold on.
Oh, it's coming.
So I mean, it's definitely Masters Nationals
Yep,
and oh gosh, I
probably
think
the Arnold, right?
no. I mean, I know there was a post about it. Oh
I should
my
have
gosh.
Jeopardy music. Do
I
do do.
know.
That's all right. We can come back to it.
Okay.
We'll find it eventually. It is a new thing.
Oh
So
wait, here I found it. Okay.
okay.
So, sorry. So Masters National Championships, North American Open Series 1 or North American Open Series 2,
Okay.
and North American Open Finals. So it's all national meets.
Got it. Got it. So all those national meets, and so you have to win gold, right? Or best lifter.
Win their age and body weight categories.
Oh, okay. So if I'm a 35 to 39-year-old, 81 kilo male, and I win my age group and weight class at Masters Nationals, and I retroactively won a medal for that same group at the Arnold, and then I go to American Open Finals and I win another gold medal there, that's the Triple Crown.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, that is that's a cool goal to have, put that on your
Yeah,
wish list.
I like that a lot actually. And it's like it's accessible for everybody in some ways because it's not like you don't also have to travel to like, an international event or something like that to qualify. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And so all these Masters events are starting to come together and lead into one another. And I think that's pretty cool because, there are those medal opportunities at the AO series.
Mhm.
Now they kind of mean a little something more, and you can have a secondary goal. Because, of course, everyone wants to be the champion at the Arnold. Well, now that can feed into Masters national champion, and then you go to AO finals, and you're the AO finals Masters champion, and now you got the Triple Crown. So
Yeah.
that's four big things that you can check off your to-do list.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you didn't make it into under the cap for the Arnold, you have the opportunity to pick that up in Dallas this year, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
AO Series 2. So it's
Mhm.
still not over. If this is your first time hearing about the Triple Crown, there's still time, and you can start with the Masters Nationals if you're signed up. If you're not signed up for this one and you didn't do the Arnold, you're kind of out of contention for this year, right? You'd have to make plans for 2025.
Yeah, totally. Mhm.
Speaking of Masters events that this one is tied to, there's the 2024 UMWF Masters World Cup coming up. That'll be in Suva, Fiji from September 23rd to the 28th. Registration actually opens March 1st, and you can do that right through the UMWF website, which I can put a link to that in the show notes. And all you have to do is be a member of USAW, have taken the USADA Advantage training course, and qualify, right? I think there's qualifying total. There must be.
Yes, there definitely were. They're posted on that UMWF website.
Yep. So I'm not sure if there's a link to that UMWF stuff on USAW's website, but we'll at least post it in the show notes here so you can find it, look at the qualifying totals, and then decide, hey, am I going to take a trip to Fiji in September?
Yes.
Never been to Fiji. I bet it's beautiful there. So that'd be a great way to if you're going on vacation, you go to Fiji, you're on the beach, you go do your lifting, you get credits for other meets coming up for master stuff, and there you go. You have, I don't know, I guess not pina coladas. I don't know what they drink in Fiji. I'm
Me
just trying to
neither.
think of a tropical drink. So that's all new stuff too, because I do know there's a lot of masters athletes that want those international competition opportunities. Here's how you can do it through USA Weightlifting.
Mhm.
Cool. Let's take a look at a map here, Sarah. So you made the suggestion to pull this up before we started recording, and we're gonna dive into the hotel venue and what's around it. This is always important to know. If you go to Google Maps and you type in the address for the hotel, then you'll be able to find it and take a look at stuff that's going around in the area. So this red dot here, if for those of you who are watching on YouTube or video on Spotify, that's the hotel. It's the Reno Ballroom.
Oh, that's the venue.
And
That's the competition venue.
oh, so yeah, that's the venue. So right there, Reno Ballroom. The hotel is to the left, right?
There's three options. They're all that are the official ones. They're all owned by Caesars. But there is, so to the north, there is Circus Circus. And then directly across from the venue, from the Reno Ballroom, across, I don't know what that street is, but is the Silver Legacy. And then to the south a little bit is the El Dorado. And all three of those are official USAW hotels that you can get the discounted rate from on the website. All, as you can see, are like within a block. It's very, very easy.
Yeah. So this big mass over here, right where Ruth's Chris is, which hey, you do some lifting, you make a reservation in advance, go have a nice tomahawk steak. That sounds nice. Right here in this big mass that Ruth Chris is attached to, this is one of those hotels. I'm gonna really zoom in here. Which one is this called?
That one is the Silver Legacy. And I mean, even if you keep going even further, like you can see that it looks like there's like an overpass. Uh, but there's tons of stuff in there. Hey, look, there's a Starbucks. Good
Yep.
coffee.
All right. Very important to know. If you need Starbucks, it's over here. It's across the street. You got to go across North Virginia Street. This may be the most important thing we're saying on the podcast right now. If you need Starbucks, that's where you'll find it. It's right around, it looks like Shooter's Saloon, the Jation Market, which, hey, if you need to maybe pick up some supplies, that's pretty good. And you know everybody's going to Los Gallos Taqueria. Get some tacos. So, all right, here's what you have to do. You have to plan it out. When are you lifting? You're lifting Saturday night. All right. You remember you can go up a weight class. It's okay. You 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 have you have Saturday night after you're done lifting or Saturday evening. You go to Ruth's Chris. You have a nice steak. But maybe before that, you go to Los Gallos when you come in on Friday or Thursday. You have some nice tacos, and then you can go to the market and you can pick up some supplies for your hotel room, and then you get Starbucks every day. Look at that; it's already planned out.
Yeah, and I mean all of these hotels are, I mean, by typical USA weightlifting event standards, these hotels were all very cheap, I want to say, like at least for the beginning half of the meet. So yeah, your dollar will go a very long way.
Yeah. And look at that. We got in that big complex that has the one hotel to the left of the event venue. We've got Hair by Betsy and the Silver Legacy Spa. So maybe you get a nice haircut, you get some spa treatment. Treat yourself. Come on, masters. You gotta treat yourself nice. Like those, we know those joints are achy. Go to a spa, get some Starbucks, and then a steak. So we got this Cafe Central. I bet Cafe Central is more of like a local brew. So if maybe you're not a Starbucks fan, look at that. It's not, it's right down the block there. So if you want maybe something a little bit of a different flavor, you can have go to Cafe Central. You got to know the coffee spots.
Yes, yes.
So that's right there. What's up here in this Burnham Park area? Let's just zoom in real quick. See if there's anything. So here we have East 5th Street. So if you go up from the venue north, Barnum Park. All right, doesn't look like there's a whole lot of action over here. I don't know. I don't know what this is.
My
Looks
only
like,
other experience in Reno was in 2017, the very first AO series ever, AO1, back when it used to move around. Was in Reno, but it was at a different venue. So I actually, and it was the Reno Sparks Convention Center was the venue, and then the official hotel was connected to it via a walkway. So
mhm.
I literally never left that except for going to and from the airport. So it's like I don't really have a lot of experience walking around Reno. I hope to get a little more this time. I always like to see the local area as much as I can. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
definitely check it out. Right now, it's looking like if you're at the ballroom going towards Virginia Street, to the left there is going to be where there's a lot of stuff. We have University Way, which takes you to a big events center. I'm not sure what that is. And then we have some other hotels and inns. National Bowling Stadium. Hey, if you want to do a little bit of bowling, you got that going on there. So, yeah, I think it looks like if I was attending this event, I'd be gravitating towards this place over here for the Starbucks and the food options and the big uh, courtyard they had. This is the Silver Legacy is the place.
Mhm.
So, cool. All right. We're moving right along. Let's go back to our agenda here. Uh, yes, this should be taken care of already, I imagine, but for those who are registered for the event. But to do a Masters event, you got to have that Masters athlete membership, right? Monthly or yearly.
Correct. Yes.
So for those of you who are listening and you're like, I've never done a Masters event, just double check your membership. I'm assuming when you go to register, it'll prompt you and say, hey, you have a senior athlete membership or just a coach membership. You need the Masters athlete membership or the Masters coach membership to do this. So it's always good to check that out. Again, you can find the qualifying totals for future events on that events page right now. And okay, a reminder for coaches, Sarah. So we have the USAW is doing a really good job on putting out all this information in advance, but I do know that oftentimes a lot of times when a new coach goes to an event, I feel like they're bringing masters athletes, just because of just qualifying for events and getting them there, and masters are all over the place. That was certainly my first time going to a national type event was for masters athletes.
Mm.
So it's helpful to know what you need to have to do those things. And they're the same as if you were coaching senior athletes or youth or juniors. Got to have your level one or level two. You have to have a valid coaching membership. Got to have that safe sport training. You have to take the USADA Coaches Advantage training and do your background check. And then there are registration fees now, $25 early coach registration fee or $50 late registration fee. That might certainly be something that people aren't aware of now because that's kind of a newer thing, right, this year with coaching fees.
Is that the case for all? I thought that was maybe just for the Arnold. I am not sure if that
It
is.
it could be. I know I got this off of the Masters event policy
Oh,
page.
then there you go.
But don't quote me on it. Double check it. Double check it. Uh, Certainly before you pay $25. So check it. But so there's a lot that you can't just show up. You got to have some credentials with you, and that's how you'll get your pass too. And if you sign up in advance, you get your name on it. It's fun to have your national event pass. Sarah, any thoughts on anything that we've talked about so far?
No.
Okay.
um, hmm,
Yeah, I think we've covered all the main logistics for this event. It's going to run
yeah.
just like any other meet. How about advice? So, all right, let's go into our advice portion. We'll trade back and forth. Advice for future, new, and current Masters athletes. So let's start on the future. This is the person who's just turning of age, and check your training age. There, all right, I'll skip ahead. There's my advice. Check your training age to see when you become a Masters athlete. Because if you go into bars, if you're 34 years old, your training age might be 35, right? So, and then you can still participate in these events. You don't have to wait until you're exactly 35.
Your sporting age.
Sporting age. Yeah. Oh, what did I
Yes.
say? Training
Yeah.
age?
Yeah.
Sporting age. Thank
Because
you.
my training age some days feels 62, but
Yeah. So check your sporting age in bars. It should be on your main profile, next to your birth date or something. So double check that. And then, so Sarah, what's your advice for the future Masters competitor?
This is the maybe only time I look forward to getting older because it's the baby masters as we tend to refer to them, like the 35, that like the low, like people are, it is still incredibly competitive, and you have a lot of really super strong people who have just kind of maybe still are even active as like senior lifters. So it's like the older you get, it's like it becomes more about like endurance and like who is still doing this sport at that age. And like it's kind of cool. Like it's like a different kind of strength. It's that's like kind of my favorite part about like being a masters lifter is it's like especially going and seeing people who are like, I have a teammate who is up in the 60s, and it's like it's just so fun to like go watch her session because it's I don't know, it just warms my heart to see these people who have like stuck with the sport and are doing something really good for themselves and having a good time doing it. So I don't know, that's my, it's not so much advice, it's just like this is something you have to look forward to if you stick with this sport.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. It's a lifetime sport, and some people, when they reach a certain age, they count themselves out. What am I going to do now? It's like, you can take care of your body and be productive, and set goals too for yourself that you achieve regularly. Uh,
Yes.
with all this stuff.
I mean, Jerry Dunn is like an excellent, he's a great example of a masters lifter who's still having fun with it. And it's like he gets very excited when he moves into the next age bracket because it's like
Yeah.
there's new records for him to break.
Yep. Yep. You can check the New York WSO records section and there's masters records in there that you can set all the time. There's state championships records. And if you're not from the New York WSO, check your WSO's website and see what the masters records are and start setting goals and try to break them, because that's fun.
It is.
How about for, all right, so that's the future. More of like, getting involved, check your sporting age. This is a great outlet to look forward to. How about the new Masters athlete? Because I'm assuming there's going to be plenty of athletes going to Masters Nationals who this is their first foray into Masters competition. So, what advice do we have for them?
Mm. I mean, definitely, I would say, since if you are a new master, like this may actually be your first national event. Maybe you have not lifted at an AO series. This is your first time trying it. Just make sure that you are aware of all of these kind of like just the rules of the sport, and like we said, that weigh-in information helps. It will go a long way. Just your typical etiquette in the back room. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Know the rules, what you're going in, and talk to your coach and figure things out. That way, there's no surprises. You don't go on the platform and maybe, your arm doesn't lock out all the way, and then you're like, why? I normally get that lift
yeah,
at my local event. So know that the standard of reffing might be a little higher than what you're used to as well. So plan around that.
for sure.
Uh,
That's great. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I think of. It's like, I had always competed at local meets, and then my first national level meet was, since it was before AO series was a thing, was Masters Nationals. And it was a very rude awakening about my jerks, and how people were maybe a little bit nicer when I was, at local meets. And then I had in front of me, national refs or higher judging me. And yeah, so
and
know those rules.
it is the national championships. So this is not the McDermott Open, like which we still have high ref standards at the McDermott Open, but you have those high level refs, and this is the championships, so you should expect championship level critique, and refing.
Totally. Yep.
I would say my advice would be to talk to people. So at these masters events, and not just the people in your session, but you are going to meet so many cool people who have been there before you that can offer great advice, and people who have like seen some stuff in history in the sport. And if you get talking to them, you'll hear some awesome stories. There's people that have been doing this since the 60s or earlier,
Yeah,
so talk to people, make new friends. I think you're going to find too that if you talk to people in your session, that's your class, that's your group, that when you go to the next one and the next one and the next one, you're going to start to see them more often. And then next thing you know, like, you're friends, you're checking in on each other's training throughout the year, you're watching videos on social media, maybe after you're done lifting you go grab a drink. Like, I do know that that is a thing. As people start to get older, they start to count themselves out of things. Well, I can't do this because I'm too old. That's not true in weightlifting and a lot of sports. And also, as you start to age up, your peer group starts to shrink. You may not have a lot of friends in your local area that you can hang out with and talk to. You will find friends in weightlifting. And every time you go to a weightlifting meet, it's like a big family reunion where you're seeing all the people and, oh, hey, what's going on and stuff. And that's part of the excitement of going to the meets. But that stuff doesn't come if you don't talk to people and you're antisocial, and everyone there wants to see you succeed. Everyone's friendly. So talk to people. Some people just have resting grumpy face. Don't believe it. Go talk to them.
1000%. That's awesome advice for sure.
How's about for the current Masters athlete who's been doing it for a while? I'll go first because it's a piggyback off what I just said. If you are the veteran, you've been doing this for a while, look out for the green folk, for who you're like, oh, that's that, I've never seen that guy before. Maybe this is his first meet. Put someone under your wing, offer a friendly advice. Maybe ask in advance, hey, do you mind if I, because some people don't like feedback, like there's that. But if you see someone struggling, do something. Invite someone to be your platform partner, in the warm-up room, or at least just talk to them, shake their hand. I think we don't realize somehow or sometimes that the masters athletes or athletes that have been around for a while, people know you. They know you and they may follow you and they'll be like, oh, that's Sarah. Oh, she's over there and whatnot. And they may be afraid to talk to you, you know. Like so you might need to be, you know, the role model. And I think you'll find that that will help the younger people coming in on just making it friendly for them.
Excellent point. Yeah, I can't add anything else to that. I mean, there have been so many people, like, I mean, thinking back to, my first Masters Nationals, and all, it's like, it's a smaller community than the AO meets. And so it's just like, you get to know your peers. And, I've been seeing the same faces in my sessions for forever. And it's fun to see them again. I mean, it's fun to see them at the AO series meets and stuff too, but it's just like, it's a little bit more like, I don't know, cozy, intimate. I don't know, whatever, but that's not the right word. But you get my point. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool. And then I mean, a lot of the times too, the thing that's really fun is that also from having gone to like masters camps and things, making friends amongst masters, those are the people that tend to be coaches, and so that's why they're also lifting at Masters Nationals as opposed to lifting at AO Series, because this is the time where they can actually do that. They are the gym owners. So it's just like you really make a really good network of friends at these Masters meets. It's just, I don't know. I mean, somebody I met at a Masters camp that's the owner of Milwaukee Barbell Club, and it's like that's cool. Like so now it's like I have that connection, and I can use that. When I have friends that are like, oh, I need to drop in Milwaukee, I'm like, hey, call so and so. Like, awesome. Like that he'll set you up. It's I don't know. It's just a really nice community.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know, you know, some people are like, of course, I'm not trying to make anyone feel obligated. If you're like like you're like, I'm gonna win this, and you're just focused and in the zone, of course, do your competition, focus on that goal. But
Yes,
just remember, there are people around you that are just now arriving to where you were 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and whatnot. And just maybe just keep that in mind.
totally. Yeah.
Let's see here. Next, let's take a look at the New York WSO athletes that are going. So this was posted on our social media and it's on the website. Just a little shout out to all the athletes that are listed here. It's a short list. We know they're going to do awesome. And on the list here, I'm missing a couple people. Who am I missing again?
Um, I think Kelly Delir.
Kelly Delir and Lucy.
Oh no, Lucy is her teammate who was, trying to say, hey, don't forget about Kelly.
Oh, okay. All right. Got it. Got it. All right. I'm glad you said that because I would have added Lucy to this too.
No.
So we're missing Kelly, which I will add that here. Apologies for that. Sometimes bars doesn't show me the complete list. If maybe you're a New York resident, but maybe you're a part of another WSO, I may not see you. So I just go with whatever the list is there, and I have people fill me in later if someone was missing, and we'll add them. But we got Adanze Asante, Alba Fortuna, Amanda Cam, Amy West, Carl Nelson, Catherine Galley, Danielle Kunitz, Elizabeth Whip, Jennifer Nelson, Catherine Hetchmanick, Lan Wynn, Marie Averian, Martin Palma, Michael Law, Michelle Woogan, New York WSO athlete rep. Shout out, Michelle. Nicholas Lee, Rena Eleazar, Sarah Soto, right here on the podcast, Scott Baxter, Stella Liddell, Taylor McRae, and William McClure. If I said anyone's name incorrectly, I apologize. I figured since it was such a small list, we might as well do a verbal shout out too. We had a million athletes for the Arnold, so we didn't do that. But for a shorter list, we can certainly shout everybody out. Yeah, that's everyone competing. So good luck to everybody. Make sure you tag us in your lifting videos so we can celebrate with you on Instagram. And I think, Sarah, that might be it on everything we're going to cover. Any closing thoughts or something that we're forgetting for the Masters National Championships?
just I'm looking forward to it. It's like you said, it's like all these meets every year. It's like these are the few times that I get to see my friends. So it's always I get very excited. And I mean, that also causes problems for competing because it means I can't sleep very well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That the it's like Christmas Day, the night Christmas Eve, the night before, everyone's all giddy.
Yep, yep.
Awesome. Well, hopefully you'll be able to fuel that energy into lifts and that goes the way you want.
TBD.
There will be a live stream, right?
Yes, and it should be the same. There's only two platforms for this meet, so that's good. And I don't, I'm sure it will just be, you know, all the information with this, how they've been doing it now at USAW.live. It shows you can look at the scoreboards. Like if you don't want to pay for streaming the whole event, you can see the scoreboards for each session, which is pretty nice. And yeah, and then you can also pay to watch the live stream.
Awesome. Awesome. USAW.live. Sara, thank you so much for coming on. I hope this is helpful for people, all the information we're giving out there for Masters National Championships. And good luck to you and good luck to everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. As always.
Make sure you follow at USA_weightlifting on Instagram. Follow New York Weightlifting on Instagram. Go to NYWSO.com to see our updates. And again, important things will be linked in the show notes. And we'll see everybody again for episode 5. This is episode 4.